Thought Bubble Audio.
Look, up in the sky!
You will never find the more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
Welcome to Beer with Geeks with Tim and Frank.
Who are you?
I'm Batman.
I am Iron Man.
Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Hi, Christopher. I'm Nero.
My name is Inigo Montoya.
You're a wizard, Harry.
A couple of guys with a couple of beers and a whole lot of pop culture nostalgia.
Make it so, number one.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Named the dog Indiana.
Life finds a way.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Now sit back and crack open a cold one, because it's time for Beer with Geeks.
It comes in paints?
Shaken, not stirred.
Great Scott!
I was way off. I knew it started with an S, though.
Hi, and welcome to Beer with Geeks, where two geeks geek out with beer. I'm Tim, and with me is my wicked cool friend, Frank. How are you today?
This is so Massachusetts. Like, so Massachusetts.
I'll have you know I live in Rhode Island now.
I know, but you know what? You can take the Massachusetts out of the boy, but... Or strike that, reverse it.
No, that still makes sense. That made sense to me. I don't know why. Anyway, Frank, we're here on Beer with Geeks to talk about things while we drink beer. Are you drinking a beer? I'm not, but I hope you are.
I am, in fact. I am drinking a Winter Fest lager from Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers. It is their extra layer Winterfest lager.
I like the name.
Yeah, right. I like the name. I like the can design that is designed to look like a bunch of beer steins on a ugly Christmas sweater, with mittens and snowflakes and Christmas trees and such. It is grab an extra layer. Wrap yourself in cozy flavors with extra layer, a Munich style dark lager boasting rich caramel and toffee notes. This beer is your perfect companion for chilly festive evenings. Keep the fest alive this winter with a few extra layers.
Nice.
That is
Sounds delicious.
6% ABV beer.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I do want some. Jack's Abbey is really good.
Jack's Abbey always does good stuff.
Yeah. Never disappointed in Jack's Abbey.
Yeah. So if you like lagers, which I do, Jack's Abbey does some great, and they have IPAs too.
Can you be a beer drinker and not like lager?
I mean, that's a valid question. I guess there are people who don't prefer them because they haven't had a good one.
Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
They've had a good IPA, but they haven't had a good lager, so they think IPAs are better than lagers objectively.
Yep.
That makes sense. Where it might be more of a gray area. And if you have a good lager, it could be just as good as an IPA.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I, on the other hand, am not drinking a beer. I'm drinking a delicious Yogi sweet lemon everyday immune tea with some whiskey in it to make it not immune anymore.
What kind of whiskey are we talking?
Thomas Jefferson.
You've had this before on the show.
Yeah, I have had. I got to finish the bottle.
Sure.
So it is it's a good whiskey. The tea arguably is better.
Okay.
So Yogi is a very good tea. This is a weird thing to say, but helpful probably. Yogi tea is one of the only teas that the tea bag does not have microplastics in it.
You did tell me this. Yeah.
So, if you're looking to avoid some microplastic, Yogi tea is the way to go. It's good.
Is so interesting and terrifying. Just sad.
No, why can't I just have tea without plastics in it?
Like, why do I gotta have plastic in it?
Why is that so hard?
Why is that so hard? Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yes, I'm out of beer in my house. So, and the only other bit of alcohol that we had, I didn't really feel like drinking. I didn't feel like port. So all
right. Well, there you go.
So I landed on this.
Well, I am glad to be
tasty too, just like candy.
That's good. That gets a bell. It's so tasty too. Do you poop out at parties? Do you pop out at parties? Are you unpopular?
Speaking of popular, Frank,
Popular.
Very popular. You and I both saw Wicked because we are of the masses, if nothing else. Actually, no, that's not true. I wanted to see it. I don't care if other people saw it or not. I know. I was a fan of the show when it was just a CD in my CD player back when I was a wee lad, and it was actually the Wicked was the first Broadway show I ever saw, like on Broadway.
Cool.
And I had fallen away from it for so long. I had not listened to anything, but I was excited about the prospect of a movie, especially when everyone said it was good. Not even just like regular people, like people I actually know who went to a movie theater. How novel these days. And was like, no, it's real. Somebody I work with was legitimately like, it was good. I think I'm going to go again. Like, and it wasn't like a, 22-year-old that like has time.
Right. It was a normie who needed to make time in their day.
A normie, right? Exactly. Who would legitimately have to make time to go again. So, it was a long journey to get to see this movie. I tried to see it with my sister back in November when it came out, and we just couldn't get our act together because we're adults. So it took until after Christmas.
You're adults, your parents.
It's tough. I did end up seeing Gladiator 2.
Nice.
By myself because she couldn't end up we just couldn't make Wicked work, so I went to Gladiator 2 by myself.
Nice.
And that was a movie that I saw. Never need to talk about it or mention it ever again.
Cool.
Yeah.
Works for me.
It was a movie.
All right.
But what did you think of Wicked?
I really thought you were about to ask me what I thought of Gladiator.
What's your Wicked journey before you saw the movie?
Wicked journey. My Wicked journey. I remember it coming out. I grew up in the New York metro area, as I've mentioned, if you've listened before, watched before. So I always was treated to commercials for Broadway shows on my local television stations.
That's nice. What a fun treat for a commercial that is. We don't get anything like that around here.
I know. Yeah. I grew up with.
Speaking, that's not true. We get stuff for the
But when it comes to Broadway in Boston, right?
Exactly.
Right. But I got to have those all the time. So that was actually a pretty cool thing. And so I remember there are so many Broadway shows that I haven't necessarily seen, but maybe I've heard some of the soundtrack or I know a couple of songs from it, but I remember the visuals from the commercial. Like I will always remember, and I know you're a fan of the Jekyll and Hyde musical.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not good, but I love it.
Well, yeah. I don't know whether it's good or not, but I remember the commercials for it on TV.
I will take that back. I will not. The lyrics are so on the nose. It's hilarious, but I do enjoy it. Like, I think that's but it is good. Some really nice harmony and chorus parts and good emotional heart story. Good. So anyway,
I believe it. If there's a good film version of it somewhere, I would love to.
Well, I'm so glad that you said that, Frank. I would not say that there's a good film version of it. I'd say no, that's not true. I'd say that there is a good film version of it, except that Dr. Jekyll / Mr. Hyde is played by David Hasselhoff. Which is worth your watch.
Okay.
Because David Hasselhoff is a talented man, and he was just struggling a bit playing that part. But everybody else around him is good. Like, obviously, trained, could do it, whatever else. Really cool set design, whatever. It's kind of a hammy show.
How are the costumes, Tim? How are the costumes?
Costumes are good. Costumes are good. Production design's good. Good lighting. So yes, it actually. So you can watch that one. It actually is not
nice.
It's not terrible.
Is it a stage? So it's a stage.
He was on
a film stage.
He was on Broadway. So it's
he was on Broadway. Okay.
They filmed it a couple of nights, and they mashed them all together.
Okay.
So I loved that one when I was in high school.
That's cool.
Sure.
That's cool. See, like that is exactly what I would. Yes, that's exactly what I would watch. Is a filmed a pro shot performance.
Yeah.
Of the Broadway show is what I'd want to see. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Wicked. And Wicked, I first became familiar with through those TV spots for it when it first opened in 2003, I think it is, right? Somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yes. And I know that I can help you.
Yeah.
Because I was that my brother was 2 years older than me.
Yes.
And that is when we were looking at schools for him to go to college. We were in high school. He was a junior, going to be he graduated in 2003. So it must have been like that. Maybe it came out in 2002 then. Or maybe we were like moving him in or something like that. Maybe it was that, because I remember driving like to the school that he went to, the college he went to, and I basically listened to that album the entire like 3-hour drive and 3 hours back, because I was also reading the Wicked novel.
Oh, wow. Time. So you're listening to the soundtrack and reading the novel at the same time.
Yeah. And the novel is quite...
It's a big book, isn't it?
Yeah. It took me a while to get through as a child, as a teenager. It's much different than not much different than the musical. It's definitely like an adult book.
That's my understanding. Yes.
Yeah. It's not meant for the wee children.
Yeah.
Whereas the musical is not meant for wee children, but it definitely skews younger.
Yes.
It skews slightly above the Wizard of Oz.
Sure. Yes. It's like PG-13 Wizard of Oz.
Yeah. Not PG Wizard of Oz. I mean, really, because
you're right. PG, not 13. You're right. PG.
Yeah, it's like you're 9. You can handle this. You're 10. Yeah, it's okay.
You're right. Yeah, if Wizard of Oz is G, then yes, this is PG.
Yeah. So you had never seen it.
I had never gotten to see the show. My sister, is a
friend of the show, Frank's sister.
Yeah. Friend of the show, my sister, Steph. Yeah. Shout out. She is a big Broadway fan, always has been. So I was also exposed to a lot of musicals through her. I mean, ones that I didn't find myself, I found through her. So heard the soundtrack a lot growing up because of her. Have listened to it a lot myself as a result. But that was it. I knew the soundtrack, but I didn't actually know the story all that well.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I thought that like where this movie ends is where the show would end. So I didn't know that there was more after that.
A lot more.
So, I didn't realize. I thought that would be the climax of it. So it was a fun thing for me to be familiar with the music,
and
a lot of
the interconnected story in between all the pieces. Right?
Get to see where the songs fall into place and stuff. Yeah, it's a really fun. Which is, I mean, often the experience seeing a Broadway show for the first time. Honestly, is it something you've been into? Right? Is like you've heard the Hamilton soundtrack 100 times. Now you get to watch it, or whatever. So it's
that
fun.
One you basically do hear the entire show.
That one is more yes.
They'd be like listening to like more like The Sound of Music and being like,
sure.
Oh, that's why they like her all of a sudden or whatever.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah. Better example. So yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get that experience. And it's kind of cool to have this like cliffhanger experience of, oh, okay, I thought this is where the story was going to, or part 2 would end, but this is the end of part 1. So there's a whole other movie still of more story. And I don't know what's going to happen, but I know what some of the songs are like. So it's super, super fun and super interesting.
That is fascinating. I guess so. I'm glad that you said that because I don't want to spoil, I guess, the second half of the show for you. As we talk about it, even though you listen to some of the music, and some people might not have who are listening to this. Sure, saw the first part of the movie, but it's interesting. Like you said, like this. Logically, in a lot of ways, you could stop this one, never watch part 2, and just watch The Wizard of Oz.
It does kind of feel like you could. Yeah. I mean, in a way, yeah.
In a weird way, it just like totally cuts, and you can just kind of like, well, I guess Glinda, spoilers for Wicked now. I need to
I guess so.
It. But, like, I guess Elphaba and Glinda aren't friends anymore. And then the wizard's kind of a jerk, but he always has been, so that's not new.
That's, right.
And then
turns out he's a fascist, but I didn't know that. But
he's doesn't come off so well. But oh man, it's actually really tough to talk about this because like when you only know the first half, because there's like seed planting for stuff in the first half of the show that pays off in the second half that like you haven't like talked about. So but you do know the music.
I do.
So like, do you know like like why Elphaba carries that little vial around, because they never go back to that.
No.
She finds under her pillow.
Nope.
Do you know why Bach and Prince Fiero are important?
Not really.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun! I can't wait to talk about part 2 with you.
Yeah, I barely knew they were talking animals in this show. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, I barely knew that. So, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot this is a little bit Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe.
Totally. It's so funny that when you make it slightly like kid oriented in some way, you're like, well, you gotta have talking animals.
Gotta have animals. Come on,
kids love animals that speak the words. We have the Cowardly Lion in the Wizard Wizard of Oz. So let's just broaden that branch out.
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's true. Oh man, that does put the Cowardly Lion in a different. I didn't really think about it in that.
Okay, so you connected that one, right? The lion in the cage that gets let go in the forest.
Wait, I forgot there was a lion that got let go in the forest.
Right. Yeah, there's this like, everyone, this is a cage. I know you've never seen one of these before.
Oh.
This baby cub that's in here that's terrified, perhaps.
Oh, right. Okay, I do remember this now.
Yeah.
See, no, I didn't connect that because I wasn't. I didn't. I wasn't. No.
I would not consider that a spoiler because it was obviously a lion. So I'm just going to move that one forward and not try to spoil.
I didn't think that one through. Honestly, I didn't pay enough attention to that to really understand what.
There's other stuff in there that if you're really paying attention, you're going to be like, oh, dang it. That was a thing. Didn't think that was a thing, but
I'm sure there's tons of it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. I don't want to spoil anything for you. So anyway,
don't
change tracks, and you tell me stuff that you really liked, and I will agree with you or disagree with you, and I will just
Let's get this out of the way.
Watch part 2.
Let's get this out of the way. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo were both fantastic.
Why don't we get them out of the way? They were incredible.
Well, I mean, it's like obvious that they were fantastic. So I'm like, let's get
a couple things I do want to say though.
One, of course.
I was absolutely impressed with Ariana Grande. Like, I knew she could, truthfully, because of her SNL sketches, I knew she could do the acting bit.
Yes.
Because I knew she was talented that way. Her comedic timing is incredible.
It is.
She's so good.
She is very good at comedy.
Really works at it. Because if you watch her early SNL stuff, she's not good. So like, she like broke character a lot and like went back to it. And then so if you like watch her recently and then you go back to the beginning, you're like, well, you like worked at it. You decided you were going to be better.
I haven't compared, and I can't really remember any of her sketches from earlier appearances, but I do remember
she was putting on a weird voice. It was like I'll see if I can find it and sure you, but I think it might have been her first ever. Like, she looks like a baby. Like, she's clearly a child. Like, honestly,
yeah. I remember her most recent. Obviously, it was only a few months ago, and then maybe 1 or 2 times before that as well.
Yeah,
because she's hosted 2 or 3 times, or maybe not hosted.
She's almost in the 5 times,
almost 5-timers club. Yeah, I think she's close. It's at least if you count, just musical guest appearances, she's been on the show at least 3 times. I think.
Yeah, she's great. Yeah, so I was really impressed with her style. Like, she put in the work to to give herself a more polished voice. And I really appreciated that. So I saw it with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my wife. And my sister, who is a trained professional singer, is what she went to college for. I turned to her and I was like, how novel it is to hire people who can sing to be in a musical.
Isn't that wild? Imagine hiring trained professional singers to be in a musical. Unbelievable. And it's just like people, it turns out people will like it because they're good. Yes, turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it does help that, there is also star power there, right? So
sure, Ariana Grande is star power. Cynthia Erivo is star power, but mostly for stage people.
I was going to say, not really not as mainstream, right?
Right.
Not
that people wouldn't have seen her in stuff. She was she was Harriet Tubman in the Harriet Tubman movie that came out just a few years ago.
Yep.
And there was something else that is in my brain, but won't come out into my mouth. So this is going to stay there.
Won't come out into my mouth from my brain.
Yep. Nope. Not gonna do that. If I only had a brain,
Nice. There we go.
So, but she was wonderful. Very different than listening to Idina Menzel.
Very different.
And I just really liked her. I liked her take on the character. Liked her quiet reserve. I felt that by the time we reached her narrative arc to get to her quest self-discovery, by the time, sorry, we talked about this last episode, so it's still in my brain. Her quest self-discovery by the end, that she needs to defy gravity. Her I Want song, she has several I Want songs, as it brought, she has The Wizard and I, and she has the Fiero love song.
Yes.
And then she has Defying Gravity. But those other two songs mean nothing by the time you get to Defying Gravity, because that's actually what, she's, the next level of achievement.
Right.
And finally, you get to, you know the music at least. So by the time you get to the end of the show and you get to For Good, she's really come to her full self-discovery. But it's just really well trodden and laid out for people. And she does a really good job. Just a really, really
fantastic job. Fantastic.
The way that they played with the color green on her skin.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. How green she was at different points, and how it turned by when she gets to Emerald City, it's a slightly different green than what we were looking at. So she doesn't, green screen and blend into the background.
Yes. Yeah. And there were really small, subtle things not subtle, but there were small, short-lived things
It's not subtle. No,
it's not subtle. And what I'm about to describe is not subtle. But when she's singing, the sort of the first, I Want song, The Wizard and I, The Wizard and I. There's that moment, would it be all right by you if I would degreenify you, right? And she turned to her actual skin color for a second, for just a second, and it went back, and it was done in such a quick way to almost make you wonder if you saw what you saw.
Yeah.
Yes. Beautifully done. I think it's actually probably a good way to segue into cinematography and production value. I've seen some talk online about how this movie looks. I think on the whole, this movie looks beautiful.
Looks real is what it looks like.
It does look real, and it does show that we're on real sets.
Yeah, it's not that weird after finish sheen that a lot of movies have been doing recently.
Yes,
you get even if it's real, it looks fake because you shined it up in post production.
Right.
It's a weird color grading thing that I don't like.
Yes,
I don't
exactly.
And so you start in Munchkin Land with Glinda, and I'm like, wow, you built those homes. This became Wicker Man really fast.
Yes.
Wicker Witch or whatever.
The Wicker Witch of the West. There it is.
Yeah, but it looks great. That's
Yes.
a real fire. That's a real this. That's a real that. They really.
That's a real bubble she's flying in.
They really planted the poppies outside of Oz or something like that.
Is that true?
So, yeah, my sister told me that, where they just really went for it, and I can tell because it's still going to look good 20 years from now.
That's right. Yeah.
Even some of it doesn't look. Some of it won't look exactly real. It doesn't, like the monkeys or whatever. I don't care.
Sure.
The Wizard of Oz monkeys don't look real either.
That's exactly right. Yep. And that's a 80-something-year-old movie.
Right. Exactly.
I was I think I completely agree with you. I think there were a few places where I can think of where and they were the very CG heavy places. During Defying Gravity, she's obviously not really flying. So we are seeing some green screen or CG.
Some of it she was, because apparently she did a lot of vocal training to fly and sing.
She did the wire work. I mean, for sure she did the wire work.
Yeah, because they did they did the Les Mis style where they sang on set as opposed to pre-recording in studio and then going backwards.
Yes.
So it was a lot of singing on set, which I'm sure some of it was redone.
Was looped, yeah, but
Was looped and
still,
redone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like it was super well done. It was, watching the movie, I was not sure. I didn't know that for sure. That they had recorded all the sound on set. So I couldn't quite tell. And I mean that as a compliment, because it like the sound was so good that it was hard to tell. I think it really shows the difference between having them be real singers singing on set versus actors who can sing, singing live on set, being recorded live on set. I think that makes a big difference, a bigger difference than maybe I realized. And this is like the stark contrast between the things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. I completely agree. There were some really nice subtle nods to the musical. If you not subtle, I shouldn't say.
Yeah,
subtle,
I mean, yes, again, not subtle.
subtle.
Yes.
But like in Defying Gravity, like, you know, they give her the triangle cape at the end, because that's when they lift her up on stage, you know, that's how they hide what she's on and everything, is that her cape extends all the way out. And
right.
So I just loved that. But just like,
find a way to like work it in, right? Like,
right.
Make it not just be a thing that they did for practical reasons on stage. Make it part of the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Some really fun cameos, obviously. Right? You know,
yes.
Like Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth. Stephen Schwartz is.
Yes, I wasn't expecting that one. Who rang that bell?
Yeah, right. Yeah, like I love that guy. Yeah. And so the whole. My wife always says that that's my favorite character in The Wizard of Oz, like, because it is. I love that guy.
The guard.
I love the guard who rang that bell, and you know,
who is also the wizard.
The wizard, right? Yeah. But in my mind, it's the wizard.
Nice. It's actually
like, even though it's not. I know it's not. It's supposed to be different people, but I just love the idea of the wizard just like being everybody.
Yes.
Have to fool everyone.
He drives the horse of a different color. Yeah,
he's just that guy. He's just that guy.
Love that.
Okay, aesthetics for different parts, and
whatever. I've never thought of it that way, and I love his headcanon that like it's actually him.
It makes Emerald City such a weirder place than it already is, because they're like just either tricked by his tomfoolery,
right,
or he's just, or they just live with the wizard being this really weird guy who's like, I'm also the guard. I'm also this guy who drives a horse.
He wants us to look. He thinks he's pulling it off. He thinks we don't know. Just pretend. All right. It's like that Robot Chicken Star Wars thing where it's like, oh, we'll put a mustache on you and make Vader think that he killed you.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's exactly like that.
Yeah.
But that's how I thought about it as a kid, because as a kid, I knew it was the same actor. So like I could tell. So I was like, but I couldn't figure out that he was just supposed to be different people. So I was like, oh, it must be the wizard just being weird. And it's never left my brain.
That's so funny. So, that is so funny. I love that. I haven't watched The Wizard of Oz. Actually, no, that's a lie. I was going to say I haven't watched it in a long time, but no, I watched it like a little over a year ago. But it's it used to be at least once a year thing.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was always on TV around Easter.
Yeah, I was going to say. I think it's like in the spring, right?
One of those. Yeah, I think it was Easter.
It's
The Wizard of Oz just going together.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember. Actually, a lot of stuff in this movie. There's a lot that like also visually tied back to that movie, right? Like the opening title sequence, which like, hey, can we talk about the fact that opening title sequences are a thing again, apparently, which I'm actually really happy about.
Yep, not upset. Let that orchestration play, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was I saw this movie and I saw A Complete Unknown, the James Mangold Bob Dylan biopic. And that also has like an opening title sequence. And I saw
Nosferatu, which I also believe has an opening title sequence.
Amazing. See,
pretty sure I might have made that up, but I'm pretty sure I didn't.
It's a trend. It is coming back. And I'm like so here for it. I miss it. I really have not enjoyed the era of putting the title of the movie at the end.
No, I don't
like the last thing before the closing end credits is the title.
That's what I was
it was
watching.
interesting.
I sat in the wrong movie.
Right. Like it was interesting the first few times I saw it. It's like, oh, that has impact when you do it that way. But it's been like a decade or more of that, and it's like, come on. It's no longer novel. But the opening credits are classic, and they used similar font and all of that stuff. I mean, it's just great. Love that they did that. Loved, the visuals of Glinda at the beginning in Munchkinland, like, was obviously very consistent with the original film. Love it.
Maybe Nosferatu doesn't have an opening title sequence. Honestly can't remember.
Two major films this year having open title sequences is two films that are probably going to be Oscar bait.
Yep, still an upward trend. Right.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yep. Yeah. The supporting cast, we have not talked about them. Guy who plays Prince Fiero, don't know his name.
Oh, he was good. He was good. He was really good. We didn't Michelle Yeoh, who really, I mean, and
he's always good.
She's always fantastic. You can count on her. She's reliable, and she's outstanding.
Jeff Goldblum doing his
himself. Jeff Goldblum, yes.
What I appreciated is that he is what people expect him to be at this stage in his career. Because if you go back and watch his early stuff, like, he's not doing that. He's doing
the character has evolved over time, right?
Correct.
The Jeff Goldblum character has evolved over time. Yeah.
Correct, but I did not find him to just be Jeff Goldblum. Like,
agreed.
Yes, he's a showman who Jeff Goldblum is, but he's actually playing a part. But he's playing Jeff Goldblum playing a part, so it's like a really weirdly layered performance. Like because he wants you to be like, it's me, fuzzy Jeff Goldblum. And you're like, oh, it's fuzzy Jeff Goldblum, and then you're like, fastest Jeff Goldblum.
Yes.
Yeah, so like, I really appreciated what he chose to do. I like that a lot. Dr. Dillamon, can't remember. Peter Dinklage as Dr. Dillamon.
That's right. Yes, it was Peter Dinklage. Yeah. Yes,
some good stuff. So and
who is like actually perfect voice casting for that character.
Sometimes, right, a voice cast, especially like an animal, you're like, you don't sound like you're supposed to sound, but this was good.
That fits so perfectly. His voice is, he's great. He's obviously great.
Yeah. No, everybody, even like the Nessa and Bach, and like, they were all really strong standout.
Bowen Yang,
Glinda's friends. You're right. Yeah. Is that Glinda's friend?
Yes.
On SNL. Yep.
Yes. Bowen Yang.
Their Moulin Rouge sequence on SNL is that so good.
Fantastic. Yes, he wanted to be in the movie very, very badly. But it was going to conflict with his SNL schedule. So Ariana Grande personally called Lorne Michaels and asked him to let Bowen fly back and forth between New York and London during the SNL season, like during the week, every week, to like fly back and forth so that he could shoot it, be there on like Friday and Saturday for SNL, like catch up. Everyone else has been working on sketches since Wednesday, Thursday. He's getting there Friday, learning whatever he has to learn, doing the live show on Saturday, and then going back to London to shoot more. And he did this for several weeks.
Absolutely exhausting, but
it must have been. But he wanted to be in it so badly. He's a big theater guy, and he really, really wanted to be in it. And he and Ariana became close friends. And she called and vouched for him, and personally called Lorne. And I guess when a celebrity calls Lorne, he can't really say no. So
especially one that does a lot for SNL. Like,
correct.
Does a lot on this.
So correct. So so he made the exception.
And and my wife and I will watch movies and like say to each other, like when there's like a really good bit character, like a really side character, and be like, there are no small parts. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Like, and like that's kind of like our shorthand. And he was one of those, like, there are no small parts.
That's right. Yeah, a great example of that.
He's one of the most memorable people in the entire movie.
Yes.
And he's barely a character. Like,
Yeah, I got the sense that that character is probably smaller in the stage musical. Is that right?
I don't remember that character.
Okay,
in the
that's
stage
fair.
show at all.
That's fair.
Yeah,
That's an oddly specific question, so that's totally fair.
yeah, but yeah, there are no small parts. That it's one of those like I will remember you. You did a great job. Like really good on you.
Yeah,
I don't even see color. Has been like when he's like talking about alphabet and walking away. I've been laughing about that since I saw the movie. Yeah,
so good.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you remember? So you saw it on Broadway. Do you remember who played the two lead roles?
I don't know,
Okay.
and I don't think I have the playbill anymore either.
Okay, yeah. Because some interesting people have cycled through there.
Mm-hmm.
My sister realized that when she saw it, and I think she saw it around 2006-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's pretty sure that Anna Gasteyer was playing Elphaba at the time. In retrospect, she realized that's probably who it was.
That's about the time that I also saw it.
Interesting.
Pretty sure I saw it in 2006.
Okay.
2005, 2006, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Interesting.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
You said Anna Gasteyer?
Mm-hmm.
You said? I don't know who that is, to be perfectly honest with you.
She's from SNL. This is where you want to look up.
One lookup?
Yeah, this is where to look up.
ANA or ANNA?
One N. You would know her from the Shreddy Balls sketch. You would know her. She always played Martha Stewart.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, I know who she is. Yep.
Yes, you know who she is.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she played Elphaba for a while, which I didn't realize. But yeah, apparently that was a thing, and some other folks have cycled through both of those parts. It was super fun to see Kristen Chenoweth and Idina Menzel, Adele Dazeem, in the in their cameos. That was a super fun. I had mistakenly heard that they did not make cameos, and I was like, that seems fake.
Yep.
The closest I could think was maybe they're saving it for part 2. But glad to see that was wrong. And they were what a treat. Like what a treat to see the two of them together. Yeah. What a fun, it was a super fun movie. It was well done. The performances were great. The costumes were great, Tim. The sets were great. The effects were great. Everything was great about it. The music was great.
I'm looking at the people who played Elphaba on Broadway.
Okay. Anybody else noteworthy?
Probably. Bowman, that sounds familiar. I'm just looking at around the time that
around the time you went.
Yeah,
sure.
Which would have been, it could have been Shoshana Bean, it could have been Eden Espinosa, it could have been Anna how do you say her last name?
Gasteyer.
Could have been Julia Murney, Stephanie J. Block. I don't remember exactly what. It could have been anywhere in there. What is worth noting is that I do know somebody, my friend, who I have not seen in a long time, my friend Shane, his wife was Elphaba for quite some time. You know Shane, right? Don't you know Shane?
I met Shane, I think, once, and I remember that his wife. Does Shane also work in show business?
He does.
Okay, I thought so. Yeah. Okay. I this is familiar. Yes, I think I did meet Shane once. I can't remember what the circumstance. Maybe it was your wedding or something, but I don't remember what the circumstances were. But I definitely met him. Yeah. Cool stuff.
Yeah. Right. I know.
Yeah.
It's like when you know somebody, you know somebody.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But anyway, my friend, I think our time has come. Where can the people find us?
Yeah, head on over to beerwithgeeks.com. You can see all of our past episodes in the archives. You can do a search and find us talking about other musicals like 1776 and long time ago. That was one of the early ones. We talked about Hamilton. We've done lots of we've done a fair few musicals. So if you like that, take a spin through, maybe search Broadway, and see what you find. But you can if the web isn't your thing, you can of course find us in whatever podcast app that you like. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us at beerwithgeeks@gmail.com, and you can support us at patreon.com/thoughtbubbleaudio to help us keep making the show.
And I would appreciate that, as would
Yes.
Frank.
Yes.
So, until next time, cheers.